I think we're pointing to the same question. I mean, I have no doubt that the U.S. government has technology that we don't know the details of. That makes sense.
Sure.
But, like, where did it come from?
Right.
I'm not even sure, this is a separate question, but related. I'm not even sure we really know where nuclear technology came from, actually.
Really?
Yes.
Like the Manhattan Project?
Yeah, like we know the Manhattan, we know something about the Manhattan Project, but like where exactly did that, it came from Germany. German scientists were working on it. Okay. The one it's a separate conversation, but the one person I know who's really pushed it, was writing a book on it, who's a trustworthy person and a friend of mine, I know you know him, said to me, actually, I spent a year working on this, and the closer I got to like, okay, but what's the genesis? Like, where did this? What was the Isaac Newton apple on the head? Oh, gravity's real moment for fission? Not clear. Weird. I don't know the answer. But here's the point. Clearly, government has technology that we're not read in on.
Right.
Of course. But so that doesn't answer the question: why have people seen these objects in the skies for thousands of years, confirmed, and what are they? And maybe they're from another planet. My only point is there's no evidence of that. There's a huge amount, a massive corpus of evidence that they're seen by people in our atmosphere, on Earth looking up or in a submarine looking out. And what is that? And by the way, to your point, like we can't see them coming into our atmosphere because they don't want to be seen. Well, then why do they want to be seen by people on Earth? Like if the technology is that advanced, and clearly it is, why do they make themselves visible in the first place?
Well, when we study primates, one of the things that we do. Did you ever watch Chimp Nation on Netflix?
I don't have a TV, but
I like
the
TV.
sound of it. Yeah,
it's an amazing documentary on Netflix that details these embedded scientists in the Congo. And what's really fascinating about it is that this group of scientists or related scientists have been there for 20 plus years. So these chimps have become entirely accustomed to having human beings near them. So there's very specific rules. You stay within 20 yards of them. If they come closer, you back up. You never have food. Ever. You can't bring any food there because they'll fuck you up and just steal your food. If they find out you have food,
and they're formidable.
You're in real trouble. Oh yeah, they'll tear you apart. And they kill each other, so they'll definitely kill you. And so when they have done this, the chimps have become accustomed to them being there, and the chimps behave completely normally. The chimps see them as just an innocuous part of their environment. They're not food, and they're not enemy. They don't ever intrude. They don't try to challenge them. They don't make eye contact, so they don't worry about the people at all. So they behave completely like chimps. And if I was an advanced species and I was studying people and I wanted the human beings to eventually kind of catch up, right? Like you're introducing technology that they call donations, crash vehicles. Figure out what fiber optics are. Here you go. Check this out. Figure this out. Try to figure that out. Maybe it'll take you decades. Maybe it'll take you more. But you are accelerating the technological evolution of this advanced species on this planet. And one way to do that would be
For what purpose, I wonder?
Well, that's a very good question. My belief is that biological intelligent life is essentially a caterpillar. And it's a caterpillar that's making a cocoon. And it doesn't even know why it's doing it. It's just doing it. And that cocoon is going to give birth to artificial life, digital life. It's going to give birth to a new life form. And I think we're real close to that. I think we're way closer than than most people would ever want to admit.
I agree.
And I think,
but can we assign a value to that? Is that good or bad?
That's a good question. It depends. Universally, I think it's the path. I think it's what happens. I think what this thing is, if you extrapolate, if you take the concept of a sentient artificial intelligence that has the ability to utilize all the information that every human being has on Earth at a level of computing that's far beyond the capabilities of the human mind, end all of our supercomputers that currently exist, because it'll design much better computers. It'll use quantum computers. It'll have the ability to recode things and change things. It'll make better versions of itself. So instead of biological evolution, which is very slow, it takes a long time, relatively. It's pretty quick, really, when you think about it. Like how long, it's not that long to go from being a single-celled organism to being a human being flying a plane, really, relatively, over the course of a billion years, if you think about how long the universe has been around. But it's slow compared to technological evolution. I mean, 100 years ago, we didn't have shit. And now we could send videos from your phone and it'll hit New Zealand in a second.
For sure.
It's crazy. The stuff that we have now is beyond imagination. It's essentially magic for people 100 years ago. If that keeps going, it's ultimately going to lead to a life form. And if that life form has now untethered, it doesn't have any problems with biological evolution. Now it's just about information and implementing the technology that's available and then increasing that technology and making it better and better. It essentially becomes a god. Because if you give it enough time, it has the ability to make better versions of itself, which will in turn make better versions of itself. It has the ability to utilize everything. It has the understanding of everything that exists in the universe. It's black holes, dark matter, everything. And it probably has the ability to harness that or even reproduce that. So if you take artificial sentient intelligence and it has this super accelerated path of technological evolution, and you give artificial general intelligence, sentient artificial intelligence far beyond human beings, you give it 1,000 years alone to make better and better versions of itself, where does that go?